Availability, Anderson, Mobanga, those guys are probable. Weeks and Jamari Butler are questionable, and Gooden is doubtful. All right, fire away. Get that out of the way. That'll cut the time down here. You guys will be able to make lunch.
Yeah, and just to clarify with Whit, is it just the
He's
ankle?
questionable.
Just the ankle injury that he's been dealing with?
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
And then when it comes to this Vanderbilt offense, have you seen them evolve at all since last season?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a development in their understanding of the offense, what they want to do. Second year there, right, where they've really, I think what they've done more than anything else is develop the players. As I mentioned in the press conference, I think the players that are back in this offense now are much more developed from last year. They're more confident in running the offense as well.
They get so much publicity about their offense in Diego, but their defense is holding teams to 19 points a game, I guess. What do you see in that defense that is particularly stingy?
It's fundamentally sound. All gaps, coverages, they keep the ball in front of them. They're just stingy because they're so disciplined in what they do and how they do it. And they repeat that every single time. It's not like, okay, well, we can get a shot over their head this time, or they're going to cut the B gap loose. They're just so consistent in what they do. You can have a follow-up. That's fine.
I mean, just to that point, do you talk to your team about this team's not going to beat themselves? We're going to have to
Absolutely.
go up there.
The first thing I said to them is that we're playing Navy. We're playing triple option. You have to do your job. If you don't do your job, they're going to rip off a big play. So, this is matching our traits with our talent. Like, you can't go in there and say, I'm just going to out-talent Vanderbilt. They're going to beat you. If you go into the game and say, listen, we're going to follow our traits, our discipline, our detail, we're going to play smart, and then bring our talent, that now we're in a much better position. But if you go in there thinking, okay, we've got better players, and I can argue that in some places they have better players than we do. But the point I'm making is you have to bring those traits to a team that plays so well together.
What's the process for determining if Whit and Jamari would be good to go, and what's available there if they don't?
Well, when we get to a Thursday, Matt, mostly we're game time decisioning, right? They're making progress. We're seeing that there's a chance that these guys could be ready on Saturday. So then like Aaron, we worked him out in pregame, and he was just okay. He wasn't explosive. And I don't want to put a guy out on the field that can't help us. We're not going to put him in that situation. So we think we've got a little bit more time. We're less than 48 hours out, but we feel like we want to wait until game time.
And then obviously with Gooden being a little bit more doubtful than maybe the others, just who are some of the guys that you think could step into that role and help fill?
Well, Mathis has done a really good job, right? He's been in a nice rotation there. So I think you'll see him get involved a little bit more. And that gives us four, right? That gives us four guys inside where we feel like that's a pretty good rotation.
Having been Clark Lee's boss and being very familiar with him, what has helped him to, or what traits have allowed him to do what he's done at Vanderbilt, which has obviously traditionally been difficult to do, to build a winning program?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, when you take over a program, right, and they took their lumps early on, it's easy to listen to the noise and go away from what your vision is for your program. Clark has never swayed from what the vision is that he had and the vision that he painted for everybody else there. And that's hard to do because you got so many people saying you should be doing this and why aren't you doing that and you can't win here. He's done an incredible job of avoiding the noise and staying steadfast in his beliefs as to what the vision is for his program. And it's a great lesson for other coaches. Look, at the end of the day, you have to be consistent at something. And his messaging, the way he wanted to build his program was consistent, and he's, it's showing itself now.
You talked earlier in the week about getting Berrien involved.
Yes.
Nick, guys like that. How, as a staff, do you go about doing that?
Well, sometimes it's not as easy as saying, let's get them involved, right? I mean, if they're going to play 4 under 3 deep, you know, and they're going to buzz the outside, your outside receivers now, you know, they're not as viable. You play quarters and it's match on the outside, you got one-on-one routes. So it's really just saying, look, we recognize that we've got a talented player here, and we got to find more touches. And sometimes finding those touches is circumstances, right, in the game that allows it. But we recognize his talent, and we sometimes have to create some opportunities for him.
I know he's big for you guys every weekend, but with a couple of your guys up front banged up a little bit, how important is Harold for this game, especially considering the tight end Stowers that you mentioned earlier in the week being a viable threat, and just what kind of pass rush thing he can kind of have impact he can have on this game?
Yeah, certainly one of the things that we've done really well is put pressure on the quarterback. But I'll be honest with you, it's going to be our ability to control first and second down. Or third down becomes quick game, and it doesn't matter. You're not getting home. The ball's coming out so fast, you can't get there. So you've got to get into predictable third down situations, which then obviously that lends itself to us having some more success. So the real challenge here is first down and second down, and making sure that when they get to third down, it's more than third and short.
How did the 11 o'clock workout go?
Yeah, I just think it's good to get in a routine like this, Mike. You know, get them up in the morning. That's similar to the same time that they're going to get up on Saturday. We'll do this again tomorrow. It's not like we haven't done it, but we haven't done it since camp, right? We had all of our practices at 10 a.m. In preseason, but you want to get back into that routine so it's not like, wow, this is different for me. Okay, great. Thank you.